Yeah, thanks, Tom. It was a no-brainer to have the actual book launch event in Leeds, especially at Welcome, with the scene that has always existed in Yorkshire, especially 90s onwards. Yeah, the book is out today. It took 6 years to make, and yeah, thanks for anybody who shows any interest in it. But right here, we've got three of the most important people in the book, I would say, who are going to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Percy. I ran Document magazine from 98 to
after 2000.
so for 10 years, a decade. And I'm from Liverpool, but I can't say Liverpool because I'm just a little bit outside of it, so I'm close. And I knew these guys and I grew up with them and we worked together growing up.
I'm Dan Magee and I ran a company called Blueprint Skateboards. I'm just going to put my glasses on to check the demographic of how to explain that. Okay, I think like 75% of people might know what that is, but it was a British skateboard company and we did some cool stuff. Yeah, but I said basically thanks for inviting me here because I think it's really important that Welcome is like one of the last of the best proper skate shops. I think it's an honour to be here.
Agree. I'm Ben Powell. Most of you know me because I live in Wakefield. I'm in the shop all the time. I used to do Sidewalk magazine, same time Percy did Document, and I'm now a teacher trying to stop roadmen going to jail. And it's very thanks everyone for coming. We're not trying to claim that we invented this shit or whatever, but I guess a lot of stuff that Neil's done in his amazing book connects to our lives when we were younger, when we were less old and decrepit, apart from Dan, who's obviously 15. So yeah, thanks for coming, and hopefully there'll be some interest for all different age groups and whatnot.
I think it's safe to say that what you all did progressed British skateboarding, and if it hadn't been for you three, it would be in an entirely different place right now. But slightly, this question might not, well, Ben will have a different answer, but what were your first experiences of Yorkshire and the Leeds, the greater Leeds?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah,
because I guess
right, should.
So I'm from Wakefield, so Leeds was like London to us when we were kids. Like this was the first big city. There in Bradford. I can't remember the first time, but I can remember like one of the earliest memories I have of coming to Leeds as a skateboarder from a smaller satellite city was when Meanie came with Skateboard magazine. I think it was 1990. If anyone old enough will remember that Chris Gregory had a cover doing a backside ollie on the uni banks, and that was the first time that I'd kind of experienced what happened when a mag came and photographers were there, and like there was a sort of a concerted effort to recognise a scene or whatever. I mean, there was like, I don't know, there probably a couple of hundred skaters in the country, but I'd say there was probably, some of you probably were there, like maybe 50 people skating uni banks, and I got too excited and tried to do a frontside air, which I couldn't do, and went straight through the window, so all 50 of us got kicked out. And I probably fucked up the article, which is kind of ironic given what I went on to do. But I just remember coming to Leeds and the architecture was different. It was like a metropolis. There were different older skaters like Snores and people like that who were a generation above me. And there were people who maybe weren't sponsored, but like Roz and a few of the people, you'll remember F and some of those old people like Chris Barris and people like that, that it was clear to me as like a 14, 15-year-old kid that like, fuck, these people are amazing at skateboarding, and there's a dude with a flash and he knows how to take photos. And I just remember that being like a bit of like a revelatory moment, which I suppose, maybe not intentionally, but it probably influenced what I went on to want to do and had the great fortune to get involved in making magazines. Over to you.
To me?
The first time, Leeds or Yorkshire, I guess. Leeds specifically, I suppose.
No, I mean, to me, because I'm from a town called Bedford, which is, 70 miles outside of London, and then I moved to London in my later teen years. But like before that, I think the north-south divide was like so much bigger, even, politically, socially, economically, it was like a huge thing, and, it still is, but like maybe less so with the, globalization, Instagram. But like a lot of skaters from the south wouldn't really come up to the north
No.
that much, unless they're come studying here. You know?
Yeah.
So to me, I was like pretty uneducated about the north of England. But I think the first time it was like a soft intro because I know it's the Midlands, but like Nottingham was the first place that like was north of the M25, and I got to know some people there. But through going to Nottingham, I met people from Sheffield, Seth Curtis, people like that, you know, and then eventually Mark Baines, and I would find my way to Sheffield. And that's my first memory, is really Sheffield. But then we come on day trips to Leeds, and that's kind of my first memory. But like I said to you earlier, the architecture of the city's changed so much. It's like old New York, old London.
Yeah.
Like that feels like it's gone a little bit in the main bits. Like there was a lot more interesting looking skate
like
stuff.
unique looking stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing I remembered is really, is it Henry Moore, the big block that Baines had the front side?
Yeah, Henry Moore, yeah.
That really stuck out to me as like an amazing looking spot.
What year would this have been?
It would have been like,
When Rehab was open, right? So like 93.
that's
maybe?
probably the first time I actually came up to Leeds, was going to visit Rehab.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I came with a bunch of sponsored riders that were riding for Phase 7. They were like Londoners, but like not that friendly Londoners like it is now. You know, like it's kind of a bit more integrated. And when I came to the skate park Rehab, they were just like all these London South Bank skaters were just so like they were talking to.
Yeah, I remember people freaking out about people having accents.
Yeah, but they were like rude, just like
Yeah.
straight up rude, and that was like, oh, this isn't really cool. And that's when I kind of like, it was like, London is a bit of a harsh place.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
that's a very early memory for me.
Would you not come to Wakefield before that?
Yes, that's
was
probably
before that,
No, but
wasn't it?
before that, I think I maybe was north. You know, was maybe Sheffield. I'm not sure. Yeah. I remember coming to Leeds and skating Pick and Whistle. Because I
Which,
remember,
for those who don't know, because it's been demolished now, that was like a subway bank that's up sort of across the road from where the Tech 11 rails used to be. And that was Leeds' South Bank. That's on nationwide news reports from the 1970s. It's long gone now.
but it looked really good.
Yeah, it was sick.
And it was like a good skate spot. But I feel like it was kind of like half derelict at that stage as well. Because in fact, in the intro to the
I was going to ask you about that.
you might know me from the
Here we go.
from the blooper videos. The titles come up over the escalator.
The one that's all rotten and that,
Yeah,
right?
that's Pick and Whistle, right? Is that-
Yeah.
So that's a really early memory. So I think that session and skating Hallam University and meeting Mark Baines and those guys was an early memory of Yorkshire.
I think I was like, I think I'd been taking, it's just before you remember you talking about Mimi coming up and taking pictures. I learned photography off Mimi, like copied his photos, copied his camera, went for my 18th birthday, got the same camera set up as him. And so it was around that time I must have come to Leeds, but I was in a straight edge band in Liverpool. And then I was in a straight edge band that started in Leeds because we were going to gigs. So it was like Nick Royals and all those people. We used to practice in the 1 in 12
in Bradford,
in Bradford. And so that was probably the first time I came to Yorkshire, and you'd get the bus from Liverpool, the coach from Liverpool, practicing the 1 in 12, and then I'd go and meet people like Rich and Dooley and Vern and all those, and we'd go skateboarding. And that was the times when I had my first camera, and I remember I'd take it in a plastic bag. I'd have like a quick save bag, and I'd have a camera in it with a t-shirt wrapped around the camera and the flash inside there. And I'd go skateboarding with all these.
Well, you took that picture of arms, right? On the was it Wibsey or the
Wibsey
other
or
one, maybe?
Keithley.
Keithley, yeah.
And that must have been 91.
Yeah, like way back.
1991. And I think that was the first time I came over. And the first time I came to Leeds, I think, was quite a distance after that. I think I remember there was a competition, and it was, where we went for dinner today. Who was with us? Baines. Remember we went for that Thai place today. I remember there was a comp in the car park behind there once. In the car park behind there, and that was the first time I came to Leeds. First years of sumo. And I think that maybe was the first time I actually came to Leeds.
But was it like back in the 90s or even earlier? Like were the cities connected? Did people like go to other cities?
Well,
to
Leeds
skate?
had some shops. So you mentioned Pig and Whistle before. I went to a New Deal demo with Armando Barajas, Danny Sargent,
John Montesi.
Yeah, Montesi. And I remember this kid I used to skate with from Pontefract called Starks, who everyone used to call Rambo because he was a lunatic.
Yeah.
Armando Barajas went, is it slick? And he went, you've got wax, you soft cunt. And that was like, but not being rude, but just that's what people were like. So, and then Sean Sheffy came, and there was you might have been at that Now and Later.
Buster Halterman.
Yeah, Buster Halterman. And
he broke me toe on Shrewsbury Vietnam.
So Leeds kind of already had like, obviously as it went on, but there was a shop called Buffalo, then there was Air, then Wisdom, then Exit, and then obviously we're here now. But there was a kind of an infrastructure for demos and stuff, which has continued to this day, hasn't it? You know what I mean? Like, you'll remember, Paul, obviously, like the older people it wasn't like the rest of the country, maybe outside of London, was a bit like cut off from what a distributor was or what a brand was or what being sponsored was, but it kind of was happening a little bit in Leeds.
Okay, but would people go to other cities? Like,
Well, Yorkshire's the Yorkshire scene. Yorkshire's massive, isn't it, geographically? But if you got like a scene video from Sheffield, you'd have people from Leeds on it, people from York on it, so that they all kind of mix together. But I guess Leeds is like the capital. I mean, it's not, York is, but in terms of skating, Leeds was like the place that people came to because of Unibank's Playhouse and like big box spots or whatever. Where if you did a trick there, people would remember it.
But there's no city rivalry like Newcastle.
Really? I mean,
Liverpool and Manchester.
I don't think so. I mean, Sheffield was a bit cooler. That was how it was perceived, yeah.
Okay.
And Leeds was a bit rougher, I guess. And then you had York, which was like this sort of strange, antique-looking place. And then Hull, which was like another thing entirely. But there was never any kind of inter-city rivalry, no. I mean, if you were into football, maybe there was, but not
No, I'm thinking
skating.
like, I guess Manchester skaters would never skate Liverpool.
No, well...
we won't get into that, don't worry.
We can do,
people travel, it's easy to get to cities. Yorkshire's massive, but it has good travel infrastructure.
Okay, because that's what always was appealing to me, that I could basically pitch up in Sheffield, sleep at Joel Curtis's house, and then put people in a van, and we could just do a massive circuit. You know, like all those places. You know, even to Hull. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and we'd hit everything, and they'd all have like amazing spots, even the little villages and towns.
Well, it had sort of had some skate park infrastructure when, like, we were talking Wibsey and Keighley had these weird mogul parks, and then there was Scoffs that you probably went to in York, that indoor place that didn't last for very long, and then Rehab. So having an indoor skate park in my hometown in Yorkshire was like pretty insane when there was only 2 indoor parks. So I guess that a lot of people in here who probably are not from Yorkshire came like you, and you went to the first incarnation of it, didn't you, when it was Simon's Psycho City or whatever. Like that probably had a big impact on getting to see like Tom Penny skate or whatever when you're a kid from like a tiny suburb outside of Leeds is like a mind, you know, eye-opening.
I mean, it's like Northampton to Bedford.
Same sort of thing,
Yeah.
Right, excuse me. So yeah, like Northampton, how magnetic was Leeds? Because neither Document nor Sidewalk were based in London, and as much as Blueprint, because Dan lived there, was based in London, there were riders from all over the country that made, you know.
You didn't get kicked out. That was another good thing about, like, most of you get kicked out of the Unibanks, but not really. But I guess, I mean, Liverpool was kind of the same. You didn't really get kicked out many of the main spots, did you, until like the end of the 90s?
Like, you could access 3 cities in a day up north, and that was unheard of. Like, you could skate Liverpool in the morning, go to Manchester, and go to Leeds. And it wasn't like, fuck, this is going to be a mission of a day. It was kind of like, oh, let's just go there.
Yeah, the M62, it's half an hour, isn't it?
It wasn't a hassle to skate 3 cities in a day.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I found. I mean, you know...
It's a hassle to skate 1 city in a day in London.
Mate, it's a nose up, But that's the, you know, that's what I found. Because you say I'm from London, but, you know...
I know you're not from London, but Blueprint was based
No, but
in...
even during my time in the industry, the amount of times that I was in Yorkshire or up north was kind of insane, you know? Like, I was up and down the M1 so much. It must have been... Looking back at the footage, it's like, I was up here, and also, I'd come up to skate, like, it had some amazing spots, but I'd also come and skate the worst spots. Like the Woodyard and Sheffield. Like, Baines went through a period of like not really want to leave Sheffield that much, and he had this one spot which was the Woodyard, which is and there's nothing there. I just don't know why it was a spot. And somehow he convinced me to like always drive up there and skate it.
And you would drive up there and film him, but you wouldn't necessarily allow Rob Selly to dictate where you.
Well, Rob
drove to.
Selly wouldn't go anywhere. That was the
Yeah.
problem. I mean, have I got time to tell a woodyard story?
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's, so
You should explain what it is to
the
people.
woodyard is just a terrible, shitty spot. It's like literally a bump that goes like this, and Baines would get a load of crap and put it up to it and skate it. It's in first broadcast. You can see it. We've lit it up with generators and made it look more than it is. But basically, this skateboard magazine from the States sent a photographer over to shoot photographs to London. So this American guy called Sean Nuts Peterson came over, and he came to London, and there was some beef about a spot, started by Sam, and it was kicking off. I was like, I've got to get this guy out of London. I've got to, like, everyone was hating on him so much. I've got to get him out. So I told him a lie and said, oh, we're going to go and skate these cities because they're amazing to skate. So I drove this guy from San Diego, who's flown over from San Diego, and take him to this amazing city skate. And we went to Baines' house and stayed, took him to the woodyard, and as we drove in, the look on this guy's face dropped. Because bear in mind, he's got to shoot articles from magazine. Like, I will just never forget, like, the look on this American's face. Like, it's not even smooth. I don't even know why we skated it. But, like, there you go. Yorkshire's got some tempting spots.
Disappointing. There's like persevere. We like cold winters. Disappointing Californians.
I mean, looking back, it's just so harsh because if somebody did that to me, I'd be pissed. No.
Go back to what you asked before. It's probably worth saying. What's the name of that photographer who does the? You know, he did the board. He does all the photos of the Peter Mitchell, right? So. The reason why, or one of the reasons why, Leeds had all these amazing spots in the, I guess, late 80s, early 90s, started getting built, like Playhouse and all that, is because Quarry Hill Flats and everything got demolished because Leeds was a massive post-industrial ghetto. And so, you know how, like, in Sheffield, you got Park Hill Flats?
Yep.
They had that, but, like, 10 times bigger in Leeds, and all that got demolished, and then new shit, like the Playhouse and all that, got built. And I can distinctly remember what Leeds was like 1 minute, and then after all that was gone and new. I mean, you walk around it now.
I drove up.
I
drove past Playhouse and I was like, that was where.
But it was like a plaza, wasn't it? That didn't exist really
Yeah.
anywhere in the north. That one spot is responsible in some respects for like Paul Sylvester's like amazing skateboarding ability because it was one space. It had ledges. It had those little table things that you could do tricks over. It had big stairs. And that wasn't something that existed in like Wakey or York or whatever. So because of the change in sort of architecture of the city, that's part of the reason why the amazing scene that's here now is because of that. Because I mean, whoever it was, Leeds Corporation or whatever.
It's all new build now, right? Like
Yeah.
cladding.
But they
stuff.
started to like
Yeah.
they wanted to build sort of like monumental things. You know what I mean? To give people like civic pride and stuff, which then encouraged a load of dickheads to smoke hash and wax everything up and fuck shit up. But the end result of that was like an amazing scene.
The materials that what it was built out of, you know, like you know.
I mean, it got hammered, but it was still all right at the end. It's gone now, obviously.
look
But
good.
then that's the Playhouse is like microcosmically is an interesting example of the way Leeds architecture and the Leeds skate scene are like intertwined because it was this sort of proving ground, like you had to be gnarly to do a trick there, and now it's changed and everything's a little bit more accessible, and it lends itself much better to like what we were talking about before, like people who've just started skating, not just started skating, but newer skaters. There's now like a big box plaza that's accessible to learn tricks at. You weren't gonna go to old Playhouse and learn how to ollie down 11 stairs if you didn't already know. You know what I mean? Like the way the city's evolved has worked along with and like influenced the way the skate scene has gone. Say something before we just talk.
Well, yeah, adjacent to that, how important, how vital was Rehab, Wakey? How important was that indoor to the progression?
So
of
I lived
Yorkshire
in Nottingham. I
skateboarding?
went to university there, and I moved there because it was better for skating. Then I finished university, and there was a skate park built like where I live now is across the road from it. It was.
Rehab the skate park for people that are tuning in.
So it was called Rehab Unity, and it was built during the heydays of raving. I can see Paul smiling, Mackie. Anyone who went there the people that ran it had a, how can I put this delicately?
Well, the first time
Had
I
an
went,
interesting approach to like business structure.
Yeah.
It was, I think it may well have been funded by some slightly unseemly things.
The
but
days before health and safety.
Yeah.
well, we just went into a thing full of asbestos, and they gave us all hammers and went smash everything to bits, and then whatever you want to build, just build it. Here's a key. There's a load of
Asbestos in there.
yeah,
The first time we got invited up, the guy was like, "Come and stay with us."
yeah.
And we went there expecting it to be hotels and stuff.
Oh, you
And they were
stayed
like,
in
"Where
the
we
skate
staying?"
park?
And then he kicked the door down, and the next building was like, "There you go, sleep in there."
So to answer the question, it was the biggest indoor skate park in the country. It was bigger than Rehab, and in their minds, they wanted Yorkshire to have the biggest, best skate. It was the first skate park I ever skated that had good ledges that were like 30 foot long, like stairs, mini ramps. Obviously, Snoz was involved in building it, and the other guy, the roller skate guy whose name I can't remember now.
Peerless.
Peerless, yeah.
Yeah.
So it had all this unique shit, and they were open to letting the skaters in Wakefield sort of say, well, why don't we have this? Why don't we have that? This is not in any other skate park. So, you know, Mark Johnson, God rest his soul, who died yesterday, did a demo there. Like loads of Americans came there.
Yeah.
Dan and all the London people came there. We had contests there.
Carl Shipman DC advert.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the first
the height of
double-page DC advert was shot in that skate park.
Yeah.
So to answer the question, massively important. Like probably a lot of the people that I know in here today is because of that place, probably.
And again, like Northampton, it was probably the events that got people to, especially from the south,
Yeah,
to travel up and actually get out of London or get out.
And people would go out into Wakefield town centre, which was like Ibiza, kind of, but freezing. You know what I'm talking about.
And then go back and sleep in the skate
Yeah,
park.
and like, well, there's people like wearing fucking miniskirts and it's raining. It's like, yeah, well, welcome to Wakefield. So for me personally, it was a massive thing, but I think nationally it was a big deal because there were no rules as well. You could do whatever you wanted.
I mean, also, you know, again, for maybe the younger people here, like having a skate, like people, we didn't have local skate parks. And
No.
if they were a small local skate park, it would be absolutely dire. You know,
Yeah,
like they used to-
driveway, quarter park,
yeah,
that's it.
like even the rare unit one was the
Yeah.
main brand were terrible, and then there'd be like, like randomly designed stuff, like you know,
Along with Northampton, it was probably the first
yeah,
park that embraced the influence of skateboarders and let, not just us, because BMXers, shout out Clarky wherever he is, and rollerbladers, because the kids of the people who owned it were like top level pro rollerbladers. But you could say, right, we want you to build this, and then they'd just turn up with a shitload of wood and go on then,
Yeah.
which was like child in a sweet shop, but to the nth degree, basically.
and that one of those kids is in Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, one of them's in Game of Thrones, and the other one is now a film producer in Los Angeles.
Is he? Wow.
Blueprint and Sidewalk magazine basically came to exist round about the same time, a pivotal time for UK skateboarding. How much did you need each other? How in touch were you guys with each other? Like literally, how much were you
Oh,
on
I
the
thought
phone?
I hated him. I'm joking.
Mate, I mean, it was like, it was a perfect storm of a lot of things, you know, like a completely symbiotic relationship.
Yeah,
From
no,
all
and
the-
with
from all
Percy
the
too, it was
magazines.
the same, wasn't it? We wanted to foreground like British skating, probably at the expense of
Each other.
each other and like a viable business model. So
We'll definitely
being
get to
friends
that.
with him meant that we'd get invited on. I mean, I've been on tours with you where both mags went to cover the same tour,
Really?
and it was like fucking
Cyrus?
that Vans one. We did half split the Blueprint Belong tour. was
Oh,
split in half.
yeah, but that was...
So there was-
I was thinking, you know, they were co-parenting.
Well, no, but it was because you lot were taking it serious. Like,
Yeah.
you knew you'd get photos, right? I mean, I didn't even shoot photos. That's Andy's thing.
You know, I mean, even so, going back before that stuff, it was kind of crazy because in the beginning of Blueprint or Panic and Blueprint, as you talk about in your book, before I learned to use a computer or anything like that, the people would just hit up Andy, who was laying out the magazine, doing all the work, Andy Horsley, and he'd had to lay out the
The ads
adverts
as well, yeah.
as part of his job. You know what I mean?
Remember that when a brand would come to you and be like,
Yeah.
here's a photo, do my advert. for me."
Make an ad for me, and then they'd complain. Well, this ad's shit. Well,
I mean,
what do you want me to do?
obviously they were awful, but like, yeah, I was looking at some of the early Panic ads, and I was thinking, who laid this out? And it was Andy. Must have been you, right, Andy? It must have,
And it'd be at like 3 o'clock in the
No, but-
morning, 1
yeah.
hour before deadline.
yeah, and just but laying it out by stuff that Alvin and maybe just like, oh, here's a photograph that I shot. Make an advert out of this. Put some leads behind it.
So to answer the question, both Mags and Blueprint and other people as well, it was like a joint enterprise. It wasn't like we all just wanted to have good photos and good footage of good skating from Britain because we'd grown up with a period where TLB's thing had kind of petered off, and there was like a 5-year period where that didn't really exist. I don't want to speak for Percy, but we've talked about this before, haven't we? The driving influence was to try and get good photos.
We just wanted to make it better. We thought like both of us were thinking the same thing, that like what we feel about UK skateboarding is not represented properly. And we were like, fuck this, we've got to do it ourselves. And you were driven to do it yourselves. We were driven to do it ourselves. You started before us with System, and then into Sidewalk, and then we caught up. You must have been doing Sidewalk for
a couple of years, maybe 2 or 3 years or something.
Before we started.
It
was all driven by the same thing. We just we were like, fuck, we feel so strongly about this, we've got to make it look good.
We had to. I mean, the main thing that came out of your book, because I don't know the story of everyone else's story in that book, and there was loads of stuff that I was surprised, but the main thing that comes out is like, no one is making money.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
Even like if you go to TLB when he's ended up working for New Deal, which was like the biggest distributor at the time, he's not making money. He's like milking himself.
He was paying off his 30 grand debt that he lost in Fat Magazine.
And like there was no industry. So at that time, I think all of us were just like, we're making minimum wage or whatever at the time in skateboarding, but it was so alien to us because there was no industry. It was only Americans that could do that at that time.
Well, the cut-off date of your book also coincides with the beginning of like the shoe holiday era, doesn't it? When like shoe brands would start and you'd go, what, I'm getting a hotel?
Yeah.
Like me and Horsley did a trip to the photo of Baines doing the crook on the truck that's in the book.
Newquay.
We just drove to Newquay, me, Mark, Andy, Gordon Skreska and someone else. Nowhere to stay, no money. Drove to Newquay, met some girl who said, oh, you can stay at my house if you want. Someone got murdered in my house though, we're like, sick. And then didn't give us a key, so we had to put our hand through the letterbox and let ourselves in, and we stayed there for a week and made an article.
Yeah.
But like 3 years later, like Soltech or DC or whatever were like paying for, and then it kind of professionalised it, which was good, but I kind of preferred it when nobody knew what they were doing, kind of.
It turned around really quick. I don't know why it turned really quick.
Tony Hawk's game, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really? But before that, it was a case of like, it was like the same with anything. Have a skateboard company, have a skateboard magazine, make a skateboard video. You had to make it good because no one else is making it, and if you failed at that, you're out of a job. Like, you know what I mean? You're not getting paid your minimum wage to make that magazine. Like, actually put your foot
You
down.
could go back on Dole and get more money.
Yeah.
But I don't think like, were you ever like thinking about money?
No.
Because I
Like,
mean,
you didn't like. Obviously, I think I was signing on for the first 7 years of the magazine, and I don't think I was thinking about money. I was just driven because like. It wasn't even like, I don't want to get a real job, I want to work in skateboarding. It was just like, there's a thing about like choice and need, and I think that like, it wasn't about choice, it wasn't choosing to avoid a real job, or we weren't choosing to avoid real jobs.
Yeah.
We were driven because we couldn't do anything else, and we didn't want to do anything else, and it just wasn't like, we're choosing to do skateboarding, we're doing it because we believe in it so much.
but also, no one was taking the UK seriously at that stage. For Americans, it was a million miles when they were like, oh, let's go to Europe and the UK, and we go to Amsterdam and drink beers on the street, and you know,
They'd think Europe was a
we'll get
country.
hero worshipped. Hero worshipped. It was like a vacation for Americans. No one took it seriously. You know, my thing or your thing was pretty like, let's just make something that Americans will look at and be like.
People were really good, so like you just show people that they were we did really, and you, I guess, was point a camera or video camera at people who were doing really good shit and like created a platform for other people to be like, you know, this dude's sick.
Whoa. I don't just point the camera at me. No, but you know.
Well, Ben,
I think that drive came after, because like at first we were doing it there wasn't really any influence from Americans. Not the start of like.
No, I mean,
That came after, I think,
Yeah.
and then I think our reaction to that came after it was like, okay, we're being fed these ads of like blue sky, blah blah, American handrail, no one's ever seen, perfect smooth floor, and like put these in the magazine, put this in the magazine, put this in the magazine, and to us it wasn't resonating as that was reality, and like we're grinding on like shitty streets and shit all over us, bird shit and like smack needles everywhere. But like, and then we're having to like force these magazines that don't represent the UK.
Yeah.
And I think there was just a point where we both were just like, oh fuck, this isn't right. And so you're doing stuff. Why aren't we showing you? Why aren't we showing what you are doing? Like we're showing all these not Americans, but it's being backed by these like pictures that don't represent us, and we needed to equalize that somehow with like pictures that represented us.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then it came afterwards.
Well, Ben and Percy, you both spoke to me about, you both used the word rivalry, like it was tangible. Like Sidewalk existed, it was the only skateboard magazine, and then another one appeared. What was that like for you first, Ben?
But historically, that's an echo of Rad versus Skateboard, isn't it? Because Skane and TLB hated each other. No, maybe didn't hate each other.
The
but
Bristol and Liverpool thing.
we've talked about this a lot, Percy and I, and it was adversarial, but it was adversarial because think about, like, I'm not trying to make it sound like it was hard. It was hard, but every 3 weeks you were making a mag in a country where it pissed it down all the time, and you had no money, and like no one was sponsored, and like
And you
people
had
in
70
America would
pictures.
go and do mental shit because they were getting paid 100 grand a year. And then you're expecting people to like go out and do mental shit and then get up and go on the hang doors or whatever the next day, innit? So the adversarial aspect of it was purely just because we both wanted to get the best photo, basically. I remember going in Smith's and getting document and being like, bastard, we didn't get that fucking photo.
We do this exactly the
But
same.
that was sick. That's what made it fun to do, I guess.
It was like we were like, I was like fucked off with you guys, like so pissed off. But I was pissed off because I couldn't represent British skateboarding the way you were doing. And I was like, fuck, they're showing it the way I want to show it. And then you must have been the same when we like did
I think it was
stuff.
good. I think polarization's good. And that's why
You just love beef.
No, I'd say this, right? You know, like the blueprint deck kind of semi-beef, but from my end, it's not beef. It's Blur and Oasis. If you're a hardcore death band, you're going to buy more death boards because you hate blueprint. You know what I mean? So I think it's
I think
good.
it was all a bit adversarial then. It was like Hesh Tech, you know, like Sheffield versus whatever, or it was just, I think that's part of like British youth culture a little bit, like being, you know, like people from Liverpool are staunchly like, will defend Liverpool to the end. People from Manchester are like that. People from Yorkshire are like that. People from Scotland. First few times we went to Scotland, I was scared to go because I thought people would think, oh, these fucking pricks. But people weren't like that at all. They were like, sick. I'll jump, you know.
But we were also young. Like, how young were we?
Yeah.
We were kids.
Like
running
mid-20s
the representation of UK skateboarding, trying to make it work. Worried by that time a little bit about like, oh fuck, if we don't get this advertising, and we're like going to be struggling, and it's like the weight comes a little bit more from publishers and things like this, and it grows and grows and grows. But we don't like, I could barely manage my emotions and my like the way I feel now, and then back then I couldn't manage them at all. So I was kicking off at everything Ben did, and I was trying to get him to react, and Ben would react, and then like we'd bounce backwards and forwards, but it was always about the same thing, trying to make it good.
What's the one article photograph where you were like the one where you were in W. Smith? When you were pissed?
I don't know.
There's not one that stands out.
I know what it is.
What is his?
It was the cover with Percy doing the front crook in the rain, and then was the switch dolly. There's the content page. I remember you actually telling me about that.
That was a good,
Cover and a content banger. I stopped.
Wow.
I mean,
So
having
is
a
there
normal
anything
job
to do with
now.
Liverpool? Howard frontside grind.
Ah, yeah, that must have
Even
pissed
though
you
I,
off.
even though I want that print from Wig, it's like now it's like I want it on my wall, but like at the time I was like
Oh, the metal ramp?
beside myself.
How territorial was it then? The photographers have got their guys, but like mag-wise, like how much did you have your brands and your guys and spots, and how much did Ben?
We shared evenly for blueprint stuff.
I think like the Blueprint was one of the ones that like rode the middle line. There was like there's ones like obviously we try and tug advertising because like
Oh yeah.
it make us more secure, and if there's things there that we could feel more secure, we'd like, oh well, that's more us, so we'd like wind it up to the advertiser, the same as everyone did. Like you'd probably do it to them. It's like
My perspective's weird on it because I didn't take photos. I had a weird job. I didn't really know what the fuck I did for 20 years, to be honest.
Yeah, but did you not say, this guy's the latest hot kid. We need to,
Yeah, probably,
We
I
need to
don't
get
know.
him in the mag.
It's just really weird, like talking about this from the perspective of having like a normal job,
Yeah.
where I have to go to like a normal place and wear like civilian, and then thinking about like getting so passionate about shit that just
Okay.
doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
But it did really matter. At
But
the
did
time.
you sit down and have meetings with Andy, like a proper meeting, and be like, we
I
need
don't know
to-
about proper, but we
What
had
are you gonna do
meetings.
about
Yeah.
this infantry?
yeah. Well, you just throw some shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Probably in the period after Neil's book is when we were both mags had more pressure on them to put Americans in the mag, wasn't it? It was when it got a bit
yeah.
more complicated because then previous to that we took the piss. Like people were giving us adverts and we were just ignoring their brands and
Yeah.
doing whatever we wanted.
I
But
remember that.
we lost 18 pages of ads in one afternoon.
That was an afternoon.
Like you're not having any more ads because you won't put anyone American in your mags. Like, all right, yeah.
Eric Conyers.
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember that. From,
JK.
Recorded you
there's
know.
kids there, mate.
Conyers.
and like I remember like I remember that happening, and it switched to us, and we remember like I don't know why, but I was kind of like emboldened by it, and at the time like it felt like amazing, we're winning, but like now if that had happened to me and Kingy and Sam in at that period, it's like I can't imagine what it must have done to you guys, and like I'm
We just
sorry
went
for
out
that.
on the lash with him and he rugby tackled him and broke one of his ribs.
So,
and then it was
But I mean, it must have been horrific, and like, and that was what, and it started turning like that. It became less about like,
it got professional.
fuck you, I've got this picture.
Yeah.
It started to be about money and like,
Yeah.
I can get this money off you, and you can get this money off me, and that's what like.
That's post
sent me
Tony
down
Hawk's,
there,
isn't
yeah.
it? When
But-
money came into it and like you
But-
could get paid like a
You know,
decent
that-
wage
That
and
game was made for an audience. That game,
Yeah.
as much as it got a lot of people into skateboarding, that game was made for the post-X Games audience. There was already a lot of young people skateboarding when that game came out. As
No, I
much as
can't
it,
complain about it. I got to go around the world because of that
And
shit.
that-
But that's outside of the sort of bracket of the book, I suppose. That's when
That probably
we
extended
became
our,
professional.
it probably
Percy and
extended
Dan
our
to-
careers for like
I'm oblivious
5,
to
10 years.
I'm oblivious to the whole
yeah, well,
point of more Americans. Wasn't.
Yeah, but you must have. We went from like
I just
little
didn't
Tommy
care.
Birkins jumping down some stairs to like a 2-week girl tour or whatever.
Yeah,
do
but
you know what I mean?
I'm just like trying to make a video. Like my mind is just like make a video, film the trick, make this guy do this trick. You know, I'm not aware of the distributor politics about selling Americans.
You didn't have to answer to anyone.
I know. I was literally a child back then, you know. So
We
But
were
we-
all
but we-
really lucky to do it, and I
but
don't
we-
want it to sound like any of us are talking about it like negatively or whatever. Like I'm blessed to have done that shit. It was amazing.
Dan, you didn't have to answer to any of it, but did you feel bound to have an allegiance to Sidewalk because they'd been there at first?
not at all. I mean, I think so a lot of it is this: who do I like, and who do the riders like to go out with and sit in a gutter and lie down until somebody shoots a trick. You know what I mean? Like in your book, I'm looking at all the rad wig photographs. I'm like, you know what? I think barely shot a wig. I maybe went out with him like 8 times, not in double figures, you know. And that's the only reason is not because I didn't like wig. It's because Ollie Barton appeared on the scene, and Ollie Barton from day one was like the homie. You know what I mean? Like this guy's amazing. He's so professional. He's teaching me how to film, bring his techniques to filming. So I'd go out with him, and then everyone became friends. I just go out with people that I enjoy being with. Like I can't remember meeting you. I can't remember the day.
I can remember meeting you because it was at that contest at Rehab.
yeah.
I think probably the first time I met you was at the original skate park. Maybe we'd been in the same place before
Yeah,
that.
I
But the
think
first
so,
time I
yeah.
remember talking to you and skating,
think
it
with
was
you
Wakey,
was there.
yeah.
But every photographer and every magazine brings a different thing. Like I mentioned, Ollie Barton. His thing is like obviously he's a big American photographer now because he was like way ahead of anything with techniques. Wig was like his flash photographer. He was like brought next level technique to the table. Percy's like the rough and ready guy, like will go into like the gnarlier spots, like introduce you to skaters that you will be out of your comfort zone. Horsley's just like the fun guy that cracks me up. You know what I mean? Like amazing photographer. I'm trying to think of
Puts bacon in your shoes.
puts bacon in my shoes, like, you know, throws me in a swimming pool. Never want to see that footage again in my life. But I'm trying to think, yeah, just like anyone who was.
I think you managed the shit between us very well.
Yeah.
Like, because it could have been like, it must have stressed you out as well, because you're trying to do fucking shit and like, but I think, yeah.
Team stressed me out. The renegade people on the Blueprint team were the people that stressed me out. I wasn't really bothered about anyone else. Just like.
Did you never feel the weight that we were going through having to represent America when you were trying hard?
I'm just not.
I think we both managed to bolster Blueprints beyond as much as possible, at the detriment to like our relationships with who was fucking paying us in the first place.
Yeah, I just can't believe that you did it, because like I'm reading Neil's book, I'm like, I'm pretty naive for all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like I believed a lot of stuff I was told. I was just focused on making videos.
Yeah.
And to me, your industry beef or allegiances just above my pay grade.
It's nothing anyway. Like, we're friends, we have been for years, but it's just when you're that deep into something and you're basically a child, because we all arrested development. We were like 20-year-olds stuck at 16.
Hello, Ann Yang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, else?
I've definitely got arrested development.
You said an hour, didn't you? Do you want us to
I
stop,
jumped in
or
on
should
your
we
question.
keep
No,
going?
good. Yeah, no.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah. Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that would be wise to ask if anybody has any questions for these very important people.
Neil, did you have one that you was down about the Leeds scene now compared with back then? Is that something that's put in front of you?
We can ask that if you like. Yeah, if you want to talk about Leeds nowadays.
What, compared to back then?
Yeah,
Well,
compared to-
the number one difference is that there are women and all different kinds of people doing it. Like, when I first came skating in Leeds, it was all teenagers and young men. But now it's, you know, it's diversified in an amazing way. You go to any event at Hyde and there's every type of person there. It's really welcoming. Leeds kind of always was welcoming-ish back in the day, but it was a bit territorial because people were trying to protect this rarefied thing that they felt like a sense of ownership over it. But skateboarding is not like that now, and it's much better because it isn't like that now. And things like we were talking about, your video getting premiered in the Playhouse, like to somebody who grew up skating in the 80s, like as if that happened, you know what I mean? It's mental, or like what you've done with the ledge. And that's the main difference. It's become part of the social, cultural fabric of the city in a way that there's never going to be like a bust moment where it'll go away now. It's there forever, and it's better for being more diverse, kind of. It's a pat answer, but that's the main difference.
I mean, I've been singing this for the last couple of years, of like the strongest scenes in the UK at the moment. Like, to me, with skaters, filmers pushing the scenes, is Leeds and then the Brighton, Sussex coast scene.
Bristol.
Bristol, yeah, but I feel like those two scenes that I just mentioned are the ones that are like weirdly interlinked. You know, there's a kind of in the same Venn diagram. They're all friends with each other. They travel. They're making, both scenes are making amazing videos. It's got amazing filmers in both cities.
Yeah, people, there's a sense of like cultural togetherness that perhaps wasn't there
I'm
until.
I'm not sure about the shop down south, but up here it's like this is.
I mean, look where we are. Look what we're doing.
Yeah,
this happens because of what you guys are doing. There needs to be a space for it to happen. Like, there's amazing demos because there's a good skate park in Leeds, and that's there because the generation 2 or 3 generations before got involved and made sure that a good skate park got built. You know, Liverpool's the same. Like, there are places where, and it's not like no one's forced that to happen. It's happened organically, and that's why it won't go away, because everyone's doing it because they like doing it and they can see some value on a human level, but on like a wider cultural level, to being part of something that celebrates. It's not just like the top 3 people anymore. Like, everyone can get in a video, everyone can get celebrated. Like, all the stuff that was kind of what we got sold by American skate media in the beginning, but wasn't actually true. They were only really bothered about like the 1%, but what we have in this city is that. It is everyone skates together and everyone loves doing it. And nobody's out to try and like one up somebody or, you know, none of that shit matters anymore. ABD, all that crap. It's irrelevant now.
And
There's
having
no
a-
gatekeeping anymore because it doesn't make any sense.
A core shop as well, as Leeds always has.
Yeah.
I actually prepared a question because it's something that's been sitting with me for a long time. And just to riff off the point then, it's just like, do you think that as a community in the UK, we've lost confidence in holding standards culturally, not just around aesthetic and identity, but also around progression in skating? So I completely agree that accessibility and considering skateboarding now is great. More people skating than ever, I love it. But have we lost some standard? Is the standards that Blueprint set, that Sidewalk set in terms of, yes, we represent the scene and the country, but also we want to make sure that we're pushing the progression of skateboarding within the UK?
I think it depends what. So there's a Simon Evans quote from Simon Evans' interview. He had the mustard jeans on, and he said that progression moves in more than one direction, and I think that's the answer.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, maybe there's less incentive for like a new Paul Sylvester to appear or somebody to like, or Mike Wright or whatever, to martyr your body to get some free shoes, but ultimately, is that the right thing? Progression's progression, innit? Like, more people starting skateboarding is progression. More people building stuff is progression. To me, anyway. Like, the way I think the sort of, what's the word? Like, one-dimensional perspective on what being progressive or being good means has gone. And me personally, I think that, I understand what you're asking,
Yeah.
but I don't think, I mean, I'm a 53-year-old man, can barely do a kickflip, but for me, skateboarding right now, if we're talking about this city, is in the best position it's ever been in.
Yeah.
Personally, I think.
Yeah, I think it's not just about progression. It feels like we all almost need to strip it back. Like, to me, doing Blueprint stuff wasn't about progression. It was more about what looked good and what suited the skaters the best, or what other people were stoked on, and making sure that those people, from be it a guy from Aberdeen or Danny Brady from Blackpool or Chewy Cannon from Great Yarmouth, who would never want to go to London, would get their time in the spotlight. Now it seems more like, forget the progression, we're at the level which is good. It's more about, don't let skateboarding become this weird microcosm of the bigger world view of what's happening in the whole world, where it's the 1%, the 5% is getting all the money, and for not much, not for doing something, give everyone a chance, you know what I mean? Like, where the people that skate hard, you know, like, it's so much harder to get your due in skateboarding, even if you're amazing, you know? Like, I look at somebody like Charlie Monroe and he can't get board sponsor, but like, yeah, you might not be into the way he skates, but technically he's amazing. If he was on the table in the 2000s, he'd be like,
be all over the place.
be number one. He'd be like top in the UK or whatever.
Yeah.
Now it seems almost impossible to get paid from skate, you know?
It depends what your motivation is for getting good. If it's self-fulfillment,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, does it? But there's a smaller... People have got maybe higher expectations of what success means because they see the Olympics and they see things like that. But then on like a ground level, like, I'm a hobbyist now. I've got nothing to do with the skate industry anymore. I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for 8 years. I'd probably actively discourage people from getting sponsored because I don't think it's a good thing for people mentally or physically unless they're driven to do that kind of stuff. Like, we just went on that New Balance thing and I've seen what top level skateboarding is in 2026, and fuck me, you could end up in hospital every time you go out skating. And that's progression, but it's not progression for 99% of people who skate, is it? For me, anyway. I'm just a hobbyist. That's my opinion as like an old...
That's different because that, you know, the New Balance tour, and I know this seems like an awful plug given that New Balance is like, you know, Baines sat here, but the demo they did felt like an old school demo where it's like young kids turning up and they might not know every face, but they're seeing like amazing stuff that their mum will be like, oh, That
But
Tom
is it
Shark-
aspirational in like a different way where it's going to make kids think, wow, skateboarding is really cool? Not,
I think-
I want to
I
get
think-
sponsored or I
no.
want to be like the best guy in
Okay.
the world or whatever.
I think the generation that starts skating between a certain point, maybe 2013, the supreme kind of hype beast era, kind of there's a little generation that's like, oh, I skate, I should be sponsored because my mate's sponsored.
Yeah.
You know, everyone wants free stuff, but now that feels like it's the newer kids aren't getting into skating for the hype aspect.
There's
They're
sort of
getting into
more
skating for skating.
opportunities, but less opportunities
Yeah,
at
but
the
the
same
money's
time,
gone.
isn't it?
No,
Yeah.
the money's
Well,
gone,
we
that's
talked about it earlier, didn't we? Imagine like starting skating in 2023. You're like, oh, sick. Now I've got to like nollie heel down a triple set before anyone will even like my Instagram. But if that was the model of what being deep into skateboarding is, I don't think that's right.
But it feels a lot more like when we first started. Now, because skateboarding was so distant, it was only California. It was as far away from us as possible. So there was never, we didn't start skating or become skateboarders to be sponsored because we didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
These guys were like Mikey Dog, to us. We could never be those guys.
So in some ways it has changed, but it's kind of not changed
No,
too,
it
hasn't
feels
it?
exactly the same. It
Yeah.
feels closer now than it ever was. And I think Magee mentioned it in that period where everyone could get sponsored because there was so much money in the industry. And they felt that the only driving force was to be sponsored.
Yeah.
And, be a sponsored skater.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
everyone's good now, aren't they?
It's like success measured by sponsorship.
Absolutely.
Is measured by flow, and that like cons people into like this is what skateboarding is. And I don't know how that's been filtered out of it from then till now, but it seems like it has. And like I think creativity and like style, although that was like important back then, that's become overtaken like the tick box of sponsorship. So I'm good. The tick box of like people like me, so I'm good. I think it's like, and it microcosm skateboarding back towards like what you're saying, where it was like local scenes and like
Yeah.
the strength is being like just being like part of your
Like
scene.
being happy
Yeah.
and being with your
Being
friends
here.
and doing
It felt
stuff
like being
because it's fun
sponsored
to do
back
it.
then
You know?
meant something more because there were fewer brands, and as a result, they were more legitimate. But now anybody can make a brand.
Well, that window, the end of the book, and then a few years after it, that's like, I don't think that'll happen again. That was like a generational thing when there were like a bunch of people who were prepared to drive up and down the country and film for UK-based brands and make no money, but act as if they were Californian brands. Like people, you've got
get
kids,
sponsored.
you've got a mortgage, like you can't do it, you know, like, I'm not saying people don't do brands because they do, but I think people's sense of what is a realistic aspiration has changed completely, and for the better for me. I think that's made skateboarding much better.
You can get sponsored and paid for skating in one spot.
Yeah.
It's just, you know.
Get sponsored skate in your driveway. If you get enough YouTube hits.
But I think I think there'll always be like, it's just when they rear their heads, there'll always be the Howard Cook, the Alex Olsen,
Yeah.
which doesn't need progression.
No.
It's just
There's always mad
innately,
bastards, isn't there, I guess, a little bit. Yeah.
innately stylish, good
Yeah.
people, you know.
We don't have long left of the whole night, so anybody got anything they want to ask right now, or should we wind up and mingle?
I've been teaching all day. Great,
Yeah,
no
thank you.
questions. Let's stop talking.
Massive thanks
Thank you
to
very much.
Welcome and New Balance.
And if you haven't, go buy his book because it's really good. Oh, unlucky. Pete, that's Pete for you guys.